Welcome to a Minecraft video that I like to call As Ugly as Sin, a builder's OCD, and guess what, this builder is me, exactly. I'm gonna talk about a few things that I regularly encounter on other servers and that are simply weird things that are pretty much ugly to do. So I want to explain them to you and so you can learn to avoid these mistakes. I'm gonna separate these into two different topics. The one is aesthetic things and the other ones are simply logic flaws. And we are here at the River of Shame, where I'm going to show you all these different things and explain what you can do to avoid doing them. Now let's start. Now the first thing that I regularly see is these things over here. So I know Minecraft regularly does this or creates forests and stuff like this so that the tree stands right on top of a dirt block, but in my opinion it's just simply ugly and I would always avoid having that. I'd rather just replace this block with another log on the floor. Now the same mistake is being made also with walls or pretty much buildings that stand on higher grounds, on hillsides or whatever. So in this case, as you can see, there's a little bit of a wall here which separates the fields over here with the riverside, and this part down here is just simply, well, not only ugly but also unlogical. So generally, if you were to put it like this, as soon as the next rain comes, the dirt is going to slowly wash away, which leaves this part of the wall completely unstable and it will eventually collapse after a while. So what you can do, or what you should do, is to replace this block with another stone brick block. Or what you can also do, and what is my favorite, is to add a kind of stabilizing part using a stair down here. It would make sense to support this weakest part of the wall here. Now always keep that in mind, and also this counts for buildings, as I said, so never have dirt under your buildings as far as you can see it. Also, one thing which is related to this topic but goes into the watery level is a wall, for example, as I used it here for half a dock, that goes into the water. Now what I regularly see is that people just stop building right after they pass the water surface and don't continue building the wall down here or whatever the building or something. They just stop building. Now I'm playing right now on on the brightness, which is a weird word. Usually I play on moody. And on moody you can't really see this too much, but still if somebody falls into the water and gets down here, he would probably think, how is this wall able to stand here? So what you should do is simply to build it onto the ground. And a related topic to that is using logs for docks, for example. And these logs, like this is the maximum length I would recommend for a log, for a dock, which is also a nice pun. Sometimes I see it that there is, for example, a dock at a riverside or at, well, pretty much a shore of an ocean, and the ocean is just freakishly deep, so they take logs and build like 90 feet down or 30 meters or whatever, and this just wouldn't make too much sense. Now, they would probably just take the materials and build the dock somewhere else where the water is shallower. Also, well, it'd be just a pain in the ass to just kind of try and get a 90 feet long log and waste it for a dock. So always keep that in mind. Just don't try and make these things as short as possible. Okay, now the next thing is regarding world edit. Many of the servers are using world edit or voxel sniper or similar mods, and something I regularly encounter is that the command naturalization is used, and this leaves us sometimes with these kind of weird walls. Now you can immediately see that this was done by world edit, or pretty much I faked it to look like world edit, which is not really better. But you can immediately see that this is not being generated by the Minecraft engine. So what you can do to avoid this kind of plain look of the top blocks being grass and dirt and than always being stone beneath it, is simply to take the stone on the dirt and to dig a little bit higher or deeper and simply get a kind of wave-like shape in there. And then it will look at least better. What you also can do is to kind of take away a few blocks up here, but this is a completely different thing. Like, if this is supposed to be exactly straight up here, then you can at least try and edit this a little bit down here so that the stone isn't just one layer across from the left to the right. Okay. Now the next thing is something that many people do wrong, since they are trying to do something correctly, or in my opinion correctly, what I always preach. They use randomization for their buildings, like putting stairs into the walls and stuff, but at the same time they're using glass panes. So you should always keep in mind that next to the glass panes there should be a full block simply for the glass to connect to both of them. Otherwise you end up with the regular shape that you get when you place it over here, which is a cross shape which looks weird and is, well, pretty ugly. So always keep that in mind. I regularly see it, and it doesn't only count for glass, but it also counts for iron bars, that is. Now, this leads us to a topic which you can also just see whenever you're playing on bright levels of brightness, and which is also accompanied or pretty much related to world edit, which is seafloors. Now, if you remove landscape or pretty much a landmass with world edit, and you want to simply make it a sea or an ocean, what I regularly see is that the ground below it is, after smoothing it, left as it was before. And this leaves us with nice patches of coal ore or gravel, iron ore, sometimes even sandstone, and generally a floor made out of stone. Now, in my opinion, this is totally ugly and can be fixed so easily simply by taking a brush and taking dirt, masking the different kinds of ores and stone, and simply go across it once to get rid of the ugly seafloor. And then you can fix it, and whenever somebody is falling into the water, he will see that this was not just taken down in 5 minutes simply to make it look good from the outside, but also if you are in the water it will look okay. Now, also something similar is something that happens when you're kind of smoothing shorelines. You end up with grass underwater, which is totally unrealistical and also, in my opinion, totally ugly. So always try and get rid of that simply by making a region selection and replacing everything underneath the waterline with, or pretty much all the grass underneath the waterline, with dirt. Or do it manually using a brush or whatever. Just get rid of it. It looks weird. Now, as you already noticed, we are already in the logic section of the logic flaws of this video, and one thing that also is related to the sea level or the water floor, or the sea floor or whatever it's called, is a too shallow river. I see this totally often, and every time I do it I want to throw up. Not only, yeah, like you can make some places like this when you definitely want the water to be shallow, but a whole river like this, of course it's a little bit more work to make deeper parts, but it not only does look worse from up here than it looks over here. Like in the regular part you see the ups and downs, you see that the shorelines, or the drop from the shore to the deepest part is irregular and looks, well, it just simply looks more natural and more realistic. And this one is just, well, one layer, which is ugly. So not only does it look bad, but also now regarding the logic, usually rivers were used for transporting using ships. And how would a ship be able to pass through here? Now, this is our little example ship, and as we can see, this is the lowest level, and the lowest level is way beneath this one. So we wouldn't be able to get through here, and therefore we can't do anything, transporting at least. So yeah, keep that in mind. Moving on to the ship, which is an obvious transition, you should kind of mind the wind. Now, of course, this ship will be able to get to its destination by using the wind, which blows up the sails. But at the same time, many people are using flags not only for ships but also for their cities. Now, these flags are okay as long as you kind of, well, at least try and use the correct direction that the flags are going in. I mostly see it that, for example, at city gates, people are using the flags so that they go from left to right or from right to left, so that you see the banner of the city. But they are using it on all the sides of the city, so pretty much the flags in the city, inside the city, even it may be very small, are going into various directions, which is nonsense. Now, if we take a look at the clouds and look up, we can see that the clouds are going slowly from the left to the right. Now, in this case, we can see, okay, I know that this direction here is north. That's south, that's obviously east, and that's west. Now, the wind is coming from the east to the west. Now, why would the flag go south? It doesn't make sense. So just take the wool and continue building the flag into the right direction. Of course, you can do a slight different direction. For example, at a ship it would make sense actually to have the flag also go into the same direction that the boat is going in. Not the opposite like it is here, the case here, but in the opposite direction, so it should actually go left. Once again, this is kind of a weird example because, as I said, the wind is going from the east to the west, and the ship is right now going from the south to the north, so the sails are in the wrong position right here, but it's just an example to show you the impracticality. Okay, and also one thing that is related to this ship is rivers being too narrow to actually let a ship pass. A river can of course be narrow, but as soon as you use a ship that is obviously going into the direction, you should always keep in mind that it should at least be able to get through there unharmed. And talking of narrow things, narrow streets. Now, as long as you aren't using some kind of transport measure, like for example this market cart, it's gonna be fine. But whatever you use, whether it's a catapult that's in the city which is standing on wheels, or a market cart or something else, always try and make it logical. Like this cart is 5 blocks wide and the road is 3 blocks wide. As you can see, the wheels would not be able to get down this edge, so why would it stand here? Always keep in mind, you don't have necessarily to have really big streets, and you don't have to or you can even have very narrow streets, but it should always make sense. At least have one big street that things like market carts and catapults can pass, and also have a few like branched streets that are a little bit narrower. So yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Please let me know if you liked this general idea of this video, so that I can maybe make another video about these flaws, or if you don't want me to, that I won't make another video about this. And well, with that, I guess there's nothing left to say for me, but I've been Madness64, and as always, please rate, comment, subscribe, join the Creamy community today, who will hopefully see you next time. Bye bye.